Hi everyone and welcome to this new Twinmotion tutorial. In today's video we'll be looking at the media and how to create image, video and how to export them locally on your machine. To create a media in Twinmotion, the first thing you will need to do is come at the bottom of the screen and click on the media icon here. That will expand the media dock. In that dock you will be able to create image, video, panorama set, a presentation, and finally the phasing. We'll cover the different media in that tutorial playlist. But let's start by the image. When you are in the image dock and when you don't have any image already created, there is a first line that explains what you need to do. Here, click here to create your first image. So let's hit that plus button. As you can see here, when you click on the plus button, it creates a new image. You can tell that you are in a media first because you have the Kit Media Mode button. Also, the icon in the scene organizer and in the property panel are turned pink, as you can see here. If you want to quit a media, I will just click on Quit Media Mode. Those icons will turn again to blue. So here we are not in a media anymore. It's really important because when you are in a media, the change that you are doing here are only applied to that specific media. So for example, let's just head quickly outside here. I'm going to turn to winter with some snow particles. So here we completely change the environment of our project, but this is happening only on that specific media. If I click on Quit Media Mode, it won't be affected in my overall scene. Only that first image will be in winter now. So let's click back on that media. I'm going to remove the weather effect, so we are back in a summer. Let's now have a look at some other settings. So in the right here, you have all the settings regarding the environment. Again, those settings are affecting only your selected image. So you can change the location, you can load the different HDRI, you can also change the horizon, activate or not the ocean. Then you will find all the options related to your camera. So here, for example, you can change your focal length. You can even turn on the depth of field and define which area of your image is in focus. So let's, for example, get closer to that lady here. I will click on her face. So her face is in focus and we can see the rest of the image is pretty blurry. But let's do the opposite now. I'm just going to click on the background here. And now our two characters in the forefront here are blurry, while the rest is pretty clear. After that, you have some options on the camera, like adding some vignetting, customizing the lens flare effect that we can have on the camera here, when especially visible when you look at the sun. It's those small effects that we can see over here. The next option are the render. Here we already cover some of those options in the Path Tracer tutorial, so if you want to learn more, be sure to check out that video. Then we have the FX. The FX is all things color grading and filter. So for example, here you can change the contrast of your image or the saturation. You can enable an LUT, a lookup table, by clicking on this option. Here there are many different types of filter that you can use to colorize your image. In the filter section here, there is some more artistic filter like the headbeat, the blueprint, the cross stitch. There is even the halftone comic. Finally, at the bottom of the FX panel, you will find the Clear Render. When you turn that option on, all the material of your project turn into the defined color. You can customize that color. So here, for example, I can choose to have a white model. I can choose to disable that effect on glass, so we can see through, and we can even customize the translucency of that material. So here, in just a couple of clicks, we completely switch from like a really realistic environment to some kind of architectural white model. Pretty cool. So let's again disable that effect. I want to have full texture on that project. The next option here is one of the most important one for the media, is where you will be able to customize your image and its size. So here the first option allows you to switch from different presets. So here we can switch from 2K to 4K or 8K. You can also just type here the value you want. So let's come back to 2K, and let's say I want to create a square image. I can just type the exact same value in width and in height. So let's say I quite like that square image. One thing that is missing, I will come back on camera. Here I want to click on parallelism. Parallelism will make all the vertical of my project straight based on my media framing. So for example here, all the lines that is supporting the glass of my project will be straight. So let's hit that button, and here as you can see, everything is straight. So let's frame our image something like that, so we can see the whole circle. Let's say I quite like that image. I've customized a few things, and I also changed the camera position. Now I need to save that in my media. To do that, I will click on refresh to memorize the new camera position. If you don't do that, you will keep the same camera position as when you click on that plus button. So again, let's say I'm now moving somewhere in my project, and let's say I'm customizing something like the vignetting. If I don't hit that refresh button, and if I click on the image here, it will jump me back where I saved my camera position. So now that we created an image, let's have a look at how to export that. To do that, you will need to click on the export button here. I will click on that button, and here it opens a new property panel. Right now, in that project, I only have one single image. That's why all the options are grayed out, except from the image. Here, to export my image, I will click on the plus. This opens that new window. I will click on my image, the image I want to export. And I will come back in my property panel. Here there are a few options. You can also close that Dropbox if you don't want to customize any of those options. In those options, you can find the format, so you can export in PNG, JPEG, or EXR. And in the details here, you have a few more options, like enabling or disabling the motion blur, checking the refinement, the max lighting, or the 3D mode. There are a few more information on all those settings on our online documentation. So let's go straight to the export and hit that Start Export button. I'm going to save that on my desktop. And it's that easy to create an image with Twinmotion. As we can see here, in just a couple of seconds, we have our image in pretty good resolution. Let's come back in Twinmotion. If you want to check the stats, I will click on Stat here, and here we can see that our image took 2.9 seconds to render, which is pretty fast. So now that we covered an image, let's maybe create a couple more images of our project. So I'm going to hit the plus button. I'm just going to navigate freely in my project, maybe one looking at the back, looking at the mountain here. Maybe one from the exterior as well. So here I'm just navigating inside my project, and I'm pressing the plus button when I see a point of view that I like. And again, now if I come back to the export button, I will click on that one here. That one is telling me that there is one image selected for the export. Here I can select more image if I want. You can see that that number I've changed here. Now I have 4 images selected. You can also deselect all, select all. There is an option allowing you to choose if you want to see just real-time image or path tracer image. Talking about that, let's actually come back to our media and turn the path tracer on one of those images. So let's maybe select this one. To turn on the path tracer on that specific image, I'm going simply to press R on my keyboard. You can also click on the shortcut at the top of the screen here. So here now we have 3 images that doesn't have the path tracer enabled and 1 image with the path tracer. You can tell that by the icon in the top left corner of that media thumbnail. So now when I come back to my export, here we can also see that this media here is affected by the path tracer, all the others are not affected by the path tracer. Again, now I want to export all my image. I can click on Start Export. This will export all the image selected over here. Let's now have a look at how to create a video. To do that, the first thing I want to do is quit the media mode because I want to start with my base scene. I will click over to my video icon and here I will click on plus to create a new video. When you click on that plus button, it creates a video with the first keyframe, which will be the starting point of your video. Then you will simply need to move inside your viewport, so let's start by navigating maybe in that area. And now what you need to do next is click on that small plus button to create a second keyframe. Twinmotion automatically creates the animation between the first keyframe and the second one. So here I will select my first one and click play, and here we can see the animation between the 2 keyframes. You can create any number of keyframes inside your media. So let's maybe create another keyframe over here. Let's maybe after that turn the camera, so we can see the back here. So right now I'm just creating a longer camera pass, but right now the time of my video part is still the same. So if I click on the first keyframe and hit play, the camera will be quite fast, as we can see over here. So obviously I want something a bit smoother, so what I want to do here is come to the top of my part here, and I want to edit that time. Maybe something like 30 seconds will work a bit better since we've added quite a long movement. So now I can click back on the play and it will be much smoother. Let's say now I am happy with that first camera pass, I want to create a second camera pass. It's what we call in Twinmotion the parts. To do that, I will need to click on that plus button. But let's first try to find a new interesting point of view. So I'm going to move out of my project, come by to my parking lot. And let's say I want to create a new camera around this area. So now I will click on that plus button. This creates a new video part. When you click on that, it creates basically a second camera. And when you will hit the play button at the end of your first part, it will switch to the second part, which is this one. So let's add a couple of keyframes to this one also. So we'll click on the plus. I will click on the plus again. So here we have a new part with a couple of keyframes. So now, if I hit play on my whole movie, it will play the first media. At the end of that first part, it will switch to the second one. Let's say you want actually your movie to start with that part number 2. To do that, first you will need to click on that collapse button. Here it collapses so you only see the first keyframe of each of your media. You won't see all the keyframes. Here now you can click on that grab icon and you can move the second part before the first one. In that mode, you can also change the transition. So here you can have a cut or you can have a fade to black. I like the cut in the middle, but let's maybe try a fade to black at the start and also at the end. So right now we are at the start of our clip, that's why we are fully black. I will click on play and now we have our nice fade. And if I move to the end of this clip here, I will leave it to play until the end, until we have again our fade to black. So let's click back now on expand so we can see all our keyframes. So here we covered the basics on how to create a media. Now let's create a new video. To do that, I will click on the video icon here. So here, as we can see, we have our first video that we just created. So now let's create a new one. I will move in a different area, like here. I will click on the plus button, and on that camera, I want to change something. So here again, all the settings that we can see on the right only affect this specific media. So if I'm changing something like the weather, so it's raining, or maybe we are just after the rain. So there is no rain anymore, but we still have some puddles on the ground. So I quite like that. Maybe what we can change is in the HDRI, we can change a bit the orientation. So we have the sun coming in from a different direction maybe. Or maybe let's actually disable that and let's change the time of day manually. Something like that, just at the start of the night. So here, the changes I've made are again only affected on that specific media. You can even have different settings on different keyframes. So let's say I want my specific video part to end up in the night like that. But now I want to actually start in the day. What I will do here is click on the plus on the left of that media part. This will create a new keyframe on the left of it. And on this one, what I'm going to do is just go back earlier in the day. Something like that. So now if I select my keyframe and hit play, you will see the time of day that is changing on the right. We can also see it in the viewport. So we have our sun setting up. So that's how you can create a time lapse inside Twinmotion. You can also pre-visualize it faster by dragging that pink line here. Let's say you want to do a time-lapse, but you have actually multiple keyframes already in your clip. So let's click here. I will come back to my first video. And here, let's take, for example, this part. So here, as we can see, we have 5 different keyframes. And let's say I want to do a time-lapse on this clip. The easiest way to create a time-lapse on a media that contains multiple keyframes will be to click on the button here and to click on Start and Ambience. This will define a starting settings which will affect the first keyframe and the ending settings that will affect the end of the clip. And all the value that you customize between the start and the end will evolve throughout your clip. So here, the start is already great. We are at the good time of day. Actually not. Let's click on Start. I will click on Environment, and here what I want to do is again disable the environment. We are in the day, that's great. Now click on End. I'm going to disable the environment again, but here, same idea. I want to make my time lapse, so I'm going to change the time of day. So here, as we can see in the thumbnail, we have each media that has been refreshed with the new time of day. And here now, if I select and play with my time bar here, we can see that the time of day is indeed evolving on all of those thumbnails. Using this, you can make time-lapse, but you can also change the vegetation growth, the weather, the season, or the lighting. There are many options that you can customize between different keyframes. So now that we covered how to create those videos, for exporting them, it's similar to the image. We'll click on Export. Let's here make sure we deselect the image we already exported. So here I'm going to deselect all. because otherwise, when I will add a video here, like that, if some images are still selected over here, they will be exported at the same time, so it will be an extra rendering time. So let's deselect again all of those images. And here in the tab where we have our video, we have some different settings. So for example, here we can customize the frame rate, the format is MP4 or a sequence of PNG image. And here we have a few different settings, like here the video mode, we can export a standard video, we can export a 3D video, a 360 video, or a 360 3D video. We can also change the resolution of the 360 video over here. So here, let's maybe just hit that export button and export that video locally. Of course, depending on your video, it might take longer to render. Here we are, as we can see on the right, at 30 frames per second. That means for 1 second of your clip, 30 images will be calculated. So it's just something to bear in mind. Videos are longer to calculate than images. And here is our final video exported. And that's about it for this video on how to create image and video. Thank you everyone for watching it, and we will see you all for the next one. Bye everyone!